We have two judges evaluating the hounds and following the hounds, but after each pass we only have one decision. Two judges must run their hounds and always run their hounds until agreement and one decision is obtained by the judges. Sometimes people will ask the question, well, what if we put the two judges out there and they just cannot agree? They run them and they just cannot agree. What do you do? Well, if the judges cannot agree, then the field trial committee dismisses both judges and they hire two new judges. They put two new judges on the replacement. Never put a new judge on with the club member judge. You never show any favoritism of one judge over the other judge. Anytime you've got a question of disagreement, you dismiss both judges and you put on two new judges who start right then and there. Sometimes you'll see competition in first series and second series just moving, just going along pretty smooth. And then all of a sudden you get to winner's pack and you have 6 or 7 hounds there in winner's pack and they're giving a rabbit and they're run, and they're giving another rabbit and they're run, and they're giving another rabbit and they're run. And it's, you know, you can tell it's getting kind of dark in the committee. What the committee is, field trial committee knows what's going on out there in the field. The experienced people, they got a situation where they got two field judges out there evaluating very good hounds that cannot agree. And so you just let the two judges run them until they come to the committee and say we cannot agree. They may run them an awful long time before agreement is obtained. But hopefully they always come up with agreement. I have not yet seen a trial yet where they could not agree, although I've seen trials that went an awful long time before agreement was obtained. So if any problems there, you just run them until they agree. And if they got to be replaced because of disagreement, you replace both of them. Page 47. Judging. All judges prior to assuming their duties shall familiarize themselves with the rules and procedures and make their findings in accordance with them. If any judge fails to judge in accordance with each procedure, the committee shall report the irregularity in detail to AKC. You may have a case where a judge just really breaks the rules, casting 3 hounds and not having the 4th hound there. You know, he's really breaking rules, but he insists on doing that, and the committee got to report him to AKC because he's not following rules. He should know better than that. Or a case where the judges may have a winner's pack and they only they reduced the winner's pack to 6 instead of 5, and they made their decisions, and they come in, they call field trials, and they refuse to go, you know, do it according to the book, take us down to 5. Well then, notify AKC of what the judge has done. In all classes, the judges shall, underline this, shall award places as follows. Shall award places as follows, and that means that they must award places. They must award first, second, third, fourth, NBQ. Must, shall. Where is that rule located? It's procedure 4. You won't find that rule in chapters, because none of the other AKC breeds has that rule. All the other AKC breeds state that the judges may award places. Only Beaglers say that they must, they shall award. They're the only breed that I'm aware of that tell our judges, you hire the judges, you tell them they must place, they must decide, run them as long as they want, but they got to decide who's first and who's second, who's third, and who's fourth. Regardless of performance, regardless of evaluation, regardless of weather conditions. Now, if you happen to be up in the North Country and you go over to a Canadian trial, and you're running a Canadian trial, and they got an entry and they take it down, and you're in winner's pack, and you come back to the parking lot and they say, how'd you do? I say, well, you know, I was right in there with the last 3. Pretty good. Go in the clubhouse, they go to give out trophies, and the judges announce we have withheld all placing of the hounds for lack of miracle. Well, if you go home, you come back to the next trial. That's all there is to it. It happens up in Canada quite frequently, and some people say it should happen more so here in the States with our baby. But you won't see that. If you have a judge You know, sometimes if you hire a judge who may be of that part of the country, and you may remind them. Most of the judges know in the state they got to place, but you may remind them, you know, you got to place the dogs. You got to place the dogs. Some people say, well, geez, I went to a trial, and there's snow on the ground, and the rabbit went out, and the dogs couldn't run that rabbit from here to the wall. Champions were made. Champions were made. They couldn't run the rabbit.
What is the object of the NBQ when it doesn't get any points or is not qualified for points in AKC?
NBQ was something that Beaglers insisted on. Over the years in the early 1900s, we wanted 5 places because Beagle competition, field competition, attracted a lot of interest. And we thought that, gee, 5th place out of 60 was really something to be proud of. And other breeds, especially in the shows, and other breeds did not have those large entries. So they did not want to give that many places. And so it was a compromise when National Beagle Club turned it over to AKC, and AKC makes great efforts to have everybody competing the same way as much as possible. So it was a compromise. AKC said, okay, Beagles, you can't have 5th place anymore, the reserve, they call it. Can't have the reserve anymore. And Beagles were up in arms about it. So then BAC said, well, okay, we'll call it the next best qualifier. Give the fellow a ribbon if you want. But we don't want to know who he is. We don't want anything to do with it. Just satisfy the other people. Simply a compromise. Simply a compromise. In many instances, a large class, the NBQ is something to be very proud of. In other instances, 8 hounds in a class and you're the 5th best. It don't mean too much. Does it? So it's all related, I think, the meaning of it is kind of related to the number of hounds.
Well, they got to be a place. That way I can get a ribbon once.
Me too, I feel the same way, and if it's a large class, I feel very, very good about it. The small class, I don't feel.
That's better than 10%.
Oh, it is good to have. I'm not saying we shouldn't have it. But AKC does not recognize it. They want everybody to be on the same level. Because when we're talking about secretaries that have file cabinets and stuff. They want to know the rules, and they want everything to be simple for them. So, but the placing of the hound, what do you think about the placing of the hound?
What do you mean when I think about the placing?
The first place hound that could get his 3rd win could be a champion. And maybe, in our opinion, cannot quite run a rabbit. Some people say that's bad for the sport, bad for the breed, that we shouldn't allow that. But then you got the other extreme, you got field judges that say if you tell a field judge that he doesn't have to award, it could be some field judges can get very critical of the dogs, throw them all out. So there again, it's a compromise. One nice thing about the Shell Award, at least the club gets rid of the trophies. They get trophies, they get rid of them.
I've changed nameplates.
Yeah, you can always change the nameplates. A little bit of history of the UBGF. When the UBGF was formed in 1977, and Roberts was writing about a new type of competition, a new type of organization. One thing that he stressed was that judges always should have the right to withhold places. And that brought a lot of people who were not satisfied with present competition, brought a lot of people together who was in favor of his writing that statement alone. And I said at a lot of meetings, federation meetings, and if anybody in the federation said that we should change that rule at CHP trials and force the judges to place the hound, boy, they'd been thrown right out of the meeting. Heated arguments. That only time that the judges would award places is when they seemed merit. That went on at 78, 79, 80. Until we got very close to AKC with the SPO rules, we realized that in order to be AKC recognized, that we would have to, either they would have to change or we would have to change. And we felt that there was no way that we was going to battle AKC and get AKC to change this rule. So we changed and we incorporated the fact that they must be placed, but they have to get 60 points in the field, so that there is a way in which the judges can tell us that, yeah, that dog won, but the quality of that dog was not there. I think we have to have some way of knowing that when dogs win, of what, something to compare their quality to across the country.